All right, everyone, let's drumroll into my top 5 favorite films of the year, starting with number 5, which is a joint pick for Anora and Heretic. I just saw Anora and Heretic most recently, so there's definitely the recency effect. And for Anora, it's kind of one of these films, like, I thought it was going to be something a little bit different. And I know that Sean Baker's been one of my favorite directors. On my PowerPoint that I showed all my cast and crew for my first feature film, Assassin League, I had a little slide for Sean Baker, just kind of, you know, just the power of independence in filmmaking and just those techniques. And like with this film Anora, you're just like, I'm just blown away how he's able to get such great performances. I mean, you really can't overly script this dialogue. He's just able to get these actors to breathe. And the fact that he works with so many non-actors, getting non-actors to act, I mean, I think everyone deep down is an actor as long as you're just being truly natural. But the problem is when you're kind of thinking about two things at once. You're thinking about what the script is, and then like if you're thinking about what your line should be, you're not fully in the moment. And somehow Sean Baker is able to just get people to just really be present. All right, number 4 is Smile 2. Speaking of directorial debuts, this is the sophomore debut of director Parker Finn. And I remember when I watched Smile, I was just so blown away because you kind of follow these directors who they make a short film. In this case, it was Laura Hasn't Slept, and then they make their feature film, kind of based on that same concept, similar to the director of Lights Out. And yeah, I mean, Smile 2, it's even better than the first. It is absolutely terrifying. The scariest scene is when she is in that hallway and her backup dancers are following her. It's not a super big spoiler. You've seen it. It's the super creepy redhead girl who's like coming out of the closet. Yeah, impressive film. It builds more mythology and lore, and it also avoids the trap of horror films, which is having to try to answer that mythology and lore. It's almost impossible to answer that mythology and lore kind of question. It's really more focused on the character's emotional journey, and it's a representation thematically of her state of mind and mental illness, of course. All right, so number 3 is we have just a fun movie and a very technically impressive and something that had all the pressure in the world, Deadpool and Wolverine. So I just, I think that this is just the height of big blockbuster films. And the director, I know who this director is, Sean Levy. Yes, I mean, juggling Deadpool's chaos and Wolverine's brooding attitude. I mean, really, but also with this film is that it's the power of a good producer. Ryan Reynolds, I think, is kind of the secret of the success, both in the script and the production of this film, and getting all the talent. So it's really just Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds kind of really just having this power of two combination to make this film as good as it is and to just make it fun. And this was a really good time in theaters. I love, if I'm going to go to a theater instead of watching something at home, I want something where like the audience is cheering. There's something about like when you watch Avengers Endgame and people are just, cheering at different characters appearing. That's so cool. And we want more films like that. Okay, number 2, of course, this is on everybody's list, is The Substance. This movie I held off on, but when I finally saw it, I was blown away by Margaret Qualley's performance, going from what I mainly saw her in was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to this film. I mean, she really just steps up her chops, and she's going to be a megastar with a role like this. And then also Demi Moore. I mean, it's an Oscar-worthy performance as well. And you have a lot of just practical effects and makeup design, and just a really interesting type of film. Okay, speaking of super impressive, my number 1 film of the year, Dune 2. This, as someone who is making my first feature film and just completing another short film and planning out other films to make, yeah, I mean, this is the top tier. I mean, along with Nolan's Oppenheimer, but this this is, you know, it's a big action blockbuster, but it just looks so earthy and organic. This was shot on an Arri Alexa 65, but I think they were using real film. And then another thing about this film, I actually had like Timothée Chalamet's performance when he's shouting that, you know, that's not hope. I had that as a mood board in one of, you know, that I showed to the actors of like, that's, you know, when you're that intense, it's like, it's almost like Oscar bait. And it's also something that like with the music, whether that's a trailer or the actual score in the film, it just like drives you. I mean, someone mentioned that like he has this like big boy, you know, reaching the back of the audience like theater voice. And he really carries that in this film. So it's just an absolute breakout film. And then another thing that I was really inspired by was the black and white sequence that was shot on special infrared cameras, which I don't think I've seen in another film. Usually it's like kind of like obscure, you know, some YouTubers do that, but basically that infrared, I mean, you can even see like the blood vessels inside, you know, some of the actors, and just like, you know, a really cool thing. I think that maybe it's not like the black and white was in the past. It was basically kind of just representing just the lack of light from the black sun. That's right, in the story. So super excited for Dune 3. All right, guys, and that's the list from creepy and cerebral to epic and action-packed. If you've got a favorite of your own, please drop it in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.